since till now we have learned about the sheets formatting as well. So what's the formatting? It's renaming, giving a new color to that sheet, and then we having other options as well, ways how we can do that. We can click on that sheet, we can make the double click and then right click, and from the home tab we have the format option where we can have different options where we can actually rename the sheet, we can move or copy a sheet, and then in fact we can give a background color as well when we are providing the names. So we learned about the sheet formatting as well. So in one Excel workbook you can have multiple sheets starting from 2 onwards, and then you can work on those sheets. So ideally when we are working with these sheets, what we can do, we can actually divide our work. For example, I am working with an organization where I am storing a e-commerce data. So what I can have data for different countries in different sheets, so that segregation is there. But when I'm opening that data, that e-commerce data, I'm just opening one single Excel workbook, but in that my data is divided into multiple worksheets. So we have done the renaming, we have done the tabbing. Next, we have some other options, very generic options. These options actually decide the working of Microsoft Excel. So what we have basically in these options, we have different categories for these options. So these categories are general, data, formulas, proofing, save, language, advanced, customize, ribbon, quick access toolbar, add-ins, trust center. So what we have in these categories for briefing for now, just read the description written here, and then we will come to the Microsoft Excel and we will understand all these categories, how actually by doing some changes we can make the changes in these categories, and we can do the changes in the settings of Microsoft Excel. So you can let Microsoft Excel work according to your choice. And how these options works with making changes in Excel options. First we have the category general. So in general, what we have default options including the display, enabling of some mini toolbar or some live preview, etc. We will see what else we have. For now, we are just covering a brief description so that we should be aware about what we have in particular category. Next category is data. This category we use to choose the settings for the data handling and import settings, how we can import the data into that Excel. Then we have the formulas as well. In the formulas category, we have calculation of the formulas, the performance of worksheet in terms of calculations and error handling. Proofing, we have autocorrect in spelling settings, etc. Save, we have location and the format used when spreadsheets are saved. And in the language category, what we can do the changes, we can do the changes for language used for spelling, help in the screen, tips. And then we have advanced we are making the changes for the wide range of options including some general setting. Customize ribbon, we have content of the ribbon we will discuss what exactly we can do with this settings. Then we have the quick access toolbar, content of the quick access toolbar. We already see how we can add some other things also. And then we have add-ins also, some special programs that bring additional functionality to Microsoft Excel. So one example is that we have add-in for the MySQL. So we can actually operate MySQL data with Microsoft Excel, and that functionality is available, is allowed, or it's enabled with the add-in, that is MySQL add-in. Trust Center, protect your spreadsheets are stored in the Trust Center. Now let's see all these categories and where actually we can make the changes. Let me open the Microsoft Excel. Let's come to our sheet that are week 2. So we are not going here or there. What we are doing, we are clicking on the file and then we are going to options. Now you just see we have the same categories. I'll tell it again. So what we are doing, we are going to file and then clicking on the options, and we have this Excel options available. Now just count the categories. How many categories we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And these all 12 we recently discussed. few minutes before what we have in these categories. So if I click on that particular category, I have a different options there. Now let's explore these options, and these options are very understandable for each one of you. And what exactly you can do with these changes, whatever changes you want to make in Microsoft Excel, you need to do it in the Excel options only. So whatever default option or some specific options is required, some functionalities are required, how Microsoft Excel should behave, this all depends on this Excel options. Now let's start with the category first, that is general. So just see there, general, in this category we have general options for working with the Excel, and that is the most important thing when we are talking about the Microsoft Excel, because it decides all the general working of the program, of the tool. So first we have the user interface option. What we have other categories, subcategories, we have user interface option. You can see it from here. When creating new workbooks, personalize your copy of Microsoft Office, privacy setting, LinkedIn features, and startup options. So we have these subcategories. So we'll just first come with the first category. That is, now even if you put your tooltip here on some of the options there, it is actually showing you, this Microsoft Excel is telling you what we have in that particular option. Now if I click on here, when using multiple display, it's the first option. So use best settings for my display, automatically adjust to screen changes so text and images look sharp on screen. Disabling this setting can fix issues like buttons and text being too big or too small to read, requires application restart. So if I am making anything changes here, so what exactly I need to do? I need to close Microsoft Excel, and then that particular change will occur. So right now my option is selected for best appearance. So I can choose it for the compatibility also, like in some displays, if we have some error or something, in that case we can move to this compatibility display option. And right now we are going for the best appearance so that we can have a good output there. Next option is show mini toolbar on selection. So what happens? We have this mini toolbar, show the mini toolbar when you select a text. That mini toolbar provides quick access to formatting tools. So what is happening here? Close this. So if I am selecting something, I have a mini toolbar with me. It's selected automatically, and I can do all the formatting changes with this option. So this is allowed when I have clicked this option here. Let's come back to options and see the general categories. Now we have next option, show quick analysis options on selection. So we have the quick analysis options as well whenever we are selecting here. So by default this quick selection is selected. Next option is show convert to data types when typing. So you can actually convert the data type. If you're typing something in the decimal value, you can have it with the data type as well. So that conversion is allowed by default. Enable live preview. Show a preview of how a feature affects the document as you hover over different choices. So I'll show one example, one very good example. Suppose I'm selecting this, and from the data I have something like page layout or some design. I'll go with this. So I'm selecting some other text here. Now I can see the result directly here. So this is my results are shown here. In fact, in the conditional formatting, I'll go, and if I have a particular data bars here, something like this, gradient fill, or we are doing any other conditional formatting, format table as like this. So you can actually see what kind of result will be visible if I'm selecting something particular. For example, I clicked on that, so apply, and this setting is provided here. So this is my data here. So whatever is can be done by that particular change, you can actually see it from that allowed example. Let's go back to the file options, and we were in the general category. So again, what we have next option, live preview, we have seen collapse the ribbon automatically. So if you're opening the ribbon and you when you're not working, so what will happen, it will be collapsed automatically. By default it is disabled. Now it is your choice if you want to enable it or not. Then we have collapse the Microsoft search box by default. In fact, this is also disabled. Then we have show screen tip style. what we have in this option. So we have right now the option is selected show feature description in screen tips. Don't show feature descriptions in screen tips. Don't show screen tips. Don't be confused here what we will do and how you'll cram everything here. This just we need to have a go through on all the options. So whenever you want to do any kind of a changes, so you have in your mind from where you can make those changes. For default working, it is suggestible to work in the default manner only. But if you want to make any particular change or any changes, so you can make the changes from these Excel options, and you are advised to go through all the options. So whenever you have the requirement, you are aware where you can do the changes or not. Next category, subcategory in the general category we have when creating new workbooks. So whenever I am opening a new worksheet or new workbook, what will be the default font? That is body font. I can make it to some other font as well. Font size is 11. Default view for the sheets, what we have, page break preview, page layout view. This is when we are doing the changes in the print, then we can have the page break preview. So in the page break preview, what will happen? Microsoft Workbook will be divided into multiple pages, and when you're seeing that, you'll see it into the pages only. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, your data will be divided into pages. But by default, we have the normal view here. So whatever changes I want to make, so I can go with any other font as well. I can go with some 48 size also. Default view also include this many sheets, how many sheets you want to include. So these all changes you can do, and this is dependent on when you are inserting a new workbook. Next, we have personalize your copy of Microsoft Office. What has happened? This is username IT admin, office background, clouds. You want to give it on the clouds or no? And then office theme is colorful. This is the default theme. And now what is happening? Suppose this week 2 is already saved. So if I'll go to some properties here, I'll go to properties. It's not there. Let me close this and I'll come to my sheet. I'll come where this sheet is already provided. So I'll go to that particular location where my this sheet is lined up. So this is my sheet. This week 2, I'll go to this properties for this sheet. In this properties, now you can see what we have, the name here and this sheet here, security details we have, and in the details the authors has written IT admin. So by default it is coming that it is making this as author as IT admin. Next time if I want to make the changes with this author name, what I can do actually, let's go back to that option again and see where we can make these changes. So I'll go to file options and I want to change the author name here. So I can change it here. I can keep it maybe skilling. So this is the author now. So this is the username when I am opening this. This is the personalize your copy of Microsoft Office. So now the default settings will be changed. By default, it was taking the name of the username of the system, this user account name. Now in this case, this is dependent on me what name actually I want to keep. So this is skill link. Next, in the privacy settings, we can go for the some other settings also. So this is some experience, some privacy settings are managed by your organization. There are optional connected experience that you can control because your organization has given you this option. So some privacy issues are also enabled there. Next category is use LinkedIn features in Office to stay connected with your professional network and keep up to date in your industry. So all the features that is available on the LinkedIn, that is also linked up with this your account of Microsoft Excel. Next category is startup options. So choose the extensions you want to open by default. By default, what we have in the Excel sheet only, show the start screen when this application starts. Tell me if Microsoft Excel is not default program for viewing and editing spreadsheets. So this is default programs. So this is all covered up in general category. So if I talk about the most used feature, this is only the if you want to change some particular changes in the font size and the font style or some kind of in the view, or you want to make changes in the author name. So these subcategories are frequently used in the general category, not the other ones. But if you want to make any kind of changes in the mini toolbar or the quick analysis tool, so you can actually change the default settings. You can check and uncheck according to your requirement. Next category we have is formulas. So formulas, we work with the formula, we work with the sum, max, min, and average count. Right now we have covered up. So in this now calculation option, so this category is used to change options related to formula calculation, performance and error handling. Calculation option, we have workbook calculation. So when automatic calculation is enabled, Excel recalculates the workbook automatically each time a value affecting a formula changes. So what is happening with this workbook calculation? I have a data, this 1020 we were talking. So if I am making any changes in that and this formula is written here, so I am changing it to something this. So automatically this value is again changed. So how it is happening? It is happening with this feature, this formula one. So workbook calculation is automatic. So that calculation is already done every time I'm making any changes. So this is automatic except for the data tables, manual or something. So if I'll click on the manual and that time it will not happen. But it is advisable to go with the automatic. If you want to make any static changes in that case, you can do it manual. Next, we have enable iterative calculation. Some iteration also we can do, like for some particular 10 iterations it is allowed, and for other iterations it is not allowed. So you can choose according to your requirement how you want to make the changes in the calculation. You want to do it automatically, you want to fix it manually, you want to do it for some particular cell value, you want to do it for some particular number. So it is your choice how you want to do this automatic calculation. Next category is working with formulas. So let's see what we have. R1C1 reference style. So this is row 1 and the column 1. Change the way Excel work formulas refers to cell. So this is a style. Instead of using letter for column and numbers for rows, this option enables using numbers for both rows and columns. Cells are then referred to in this format. So if we are talking about any particular cell, C2, B2, so this is happening with the reference style one. Formula autocomplete. So if I write something SUM, even if write S, so what is S I'll write. So what is related to that particular formula, that will be shown to me. So this is show a list of relevant functions. So this is, we can say that relevant results are suggested. So how this auto completion is has been performed, because by default this setting is enabled. Then we have use table names in the formula. Yes, that is allowed. Table names are allowed to do. Use get pivot data functions for pivot table reference. When you will understand this pivot data and pivot table, you will get to know what this option actually means. For now, you can remember that by default our setting is already set to this get pivot data. Next, we have suggest formula variations that are supported by the older versions of the Excel. So if I have some data or some formula into a older version, that is also workable in this sheet, and it will suggest what will changes you can do it. So if you can take an example, before in an older version one function name was written as some B1 and now this is C1. So Excel will actually suggest you that which formula you should use. So this is with the working with the formula. So formula, we have some 4 settings, that is formula should be auto completed. We can use a table name as well. We can use the get pivot data function also, and we can have the variation for the formula by default with the Microsoft Excel. Next, we have the error checking. So how this error will be checking? In that error checking option, we have some green color. If we have the error with the formula or something, in that case, it will be this Excel will make it indicate errors using this color, that is something like green. Enable background color error checking. Then we have some error checking rules again. So these checking rules are cells containing formula that result in error, inconsistent calculated column formula in tables, cells containing years represented as 2 digits, numbers formatted as text or preceded by an apostrophe, formulas inconsistent with other formulas in the region, cells containing data types that could not refresh, formula which omit cells in a region, unlocked cells containing formulas, and this option you can see it's unchecked. This is formula referring to empty cell. So this is already unchecked. You, if you want to make check it, you can do it. And you can see that how Excel is so interactive with you. If you click on any particular option, it will actually show what this description is all about. Like if I'll do this error, the first one. So display error indicates an enable error correction for formula that result in error value such as divided by 0. So I can't divide a number by 0, so this is already selected and enabled here. Data entered in a table is invalid, misleading number format. So this is all about the formulas. Next category we have data. So data category is basically workable when we are actually importing data from another source. So whatever default option we have, change options related to data import and the data analysis. So from where you can have the data import wizard. So right now it's not selected. But if why I want to import the data from any particular wizard, I need to check this option. So I have the option to from Access, this is an another tool, from Web, from Text, another tool, and we have from the SQL Server, from OData, from XML data import, from data connection wizard. So this is like we have data in provided into any another tool and we want to have it into Microsoft Excel. That process is known as data importation. And how we can do it? We need to actually be sure about in from which platform we are importing the data, and accordingly we can make the changes here. So right now we have make changes to the default layout of the pivot table, disable undo for large pivot table, refresh operations to reduce refresh time, prefer the Excel data model when creating the pivot table. So these options, the data options is already selected. So pivot is basically what we are doing. We have the data and we want to have some summarized kind of a result. Like I have a data for a customer and shopping customer. So from an e-commerce website, in that case, like how many males I have, how many females I have, how many person belongs to one particular city, how many people are doing method for the cash. So this all summary I can have with the pivot table, and we will understand this pivot in the details also in the upcoming weeks. For now, you can remember that pivot tables are used to summarize the data, and all these data options are for that pivot. Here pivot is mentioned here. So in the pivot table, it is not necessary that you are having the data from the same Excel sheet. You can have the data from other sources also. That is why we are talking here that data import option is available, and legacy data import wizard you can choose it. Next we have category proofing. So change how Excel corrects and formats your text. This is autocorrect option. So autocorrect option is basically you made some mistakes, but this time you are not correcting your mistake. Excel is correcting your mistake. So that is autocorrect options. So by default, we have when correcting spelling in Microsoft Office programs, we have a spell check here. Let's see that. I'll go to the spell check first so that you can see it what we are talking about. So in this review, we have the spelling, and accordingly we can actually check the spelling. So if I'll click on this numbers and you want to continue checking at the beginning of the sheet, so I'll click on the yes, spell check complete, you're good to go. So this spelling check is performed by Microsoft Excel. Now see how helpful is this Microsoft Excel with us. I'll go with the proofing. So this is change how Excel corrects the format as you would type. So we have ignore words in uppercase, ignore words that contain numbers, ignore internet and file addresses, flag and repeated words. So this is already ignored. So whenever Microsoft Excel is making any auto correction or checking the spelling, in that case, Excel will ignore these cases. If you don't want to ignore it, anytime you are writing any something into uppercase, it will give you an error. So this is how you want to make the changes. If you have some data where uppercase is not allowed, in that case you can uncheck that field, and you can, when you will click on the spelling option, this review and spelling, you'll actually get an error. And then we have some custom dictionary also, which dictionary right now it is falling for French mode, Spanish mode, and dictionary language in English India. And we have for the different countries as well. So if you belong to any different country, you can choose it there, and in fact in your system by default that option will be selected. I belong to India, and that is why it is showing dictionary language English India. So this is auto correct options. Next category is save. In the save, how the things will save. So now you just see that in the auto save is clicked with the OneDrive and the SharePoint. So if I'll click on the auto save, in that case my data will be saved to my OneDrive. What will be the default format? That is Excel workbook and save auto recover intimation information every 10 minutes. So if you're not saving into 10 minutes, it will give you some reminder, save it, save it. Keep the last auto recovered version. So auto recovered is like you by mistake you have closed that. In that case, what will happen? So auto recovers file location is this is written here. So in case if you are not saving your file properly, where your data will go to the auto recovery, and that auto recovery's path is written here. And then we have some additional spaces also for saving, and default file location is C users and this documents. My data is going here. So you can change it to desktop also, you can change it to any particular folder also. And auto recover exceptions, for if you want to disable auto recover for this particular sheet, you can disable it also. Offline editing options allowed on this draft option. Preserve visual appearance of the workbook, you can choose any particular color. Cache days to keep files in the office document, cache is 14 days. So this is something like keeping the cookies. So these cookies are saved for 14 days. If you're not using that document for next 14 days, so this will be removed from the cache setting. So this is about the saving. So auto, the main usage from this category is if you want to make changes about your default location of the document, that you can change it here from this category, that is save category. So customize how workbooks are saved. Next we have the language here. In the case of the language, so you can add the language. Right now we are working match Microsoft English, and this is English. So if you want to have any other changes, you can change it here, but you need to actually add that language. So if I click on that add a language, so I need to choose that particular language and I can install that display language. So I can have the result into any other language also. So languages, we have some this Afrikaans, then we have Shib, Arabic, Assamese, Bangla, some other languages. You can choose it from any regional language as well, but you need to install that particular language. And how you can install that? You can install it by going into file options, and then we have Excel options, and you can make changes in this language thing. And by default, what we have this math English. Then we have accessibility option. In this accessibility, what you can do, make Excel more accessible, make your document accessible to other. This is for the sharing. If you want to share your document with the other, feedback option or something, then you can choose this. Application display option, we have screen tip style, show feature description in screen tips, show function screen tips, show the start screen when this application start. Font size is written here. So all these accessible functions, you can make the changes in this category. It's an advanced option now. This is in the advanced option. We have, after passing enter move selection, where should it go? If I am clicking on the enter, it should go down. Okay, that is allowed. If you want to make any other changes, you can do it. Automatically insert a decimal point, yes, display it. Places should be 2 decibel. I can make it uncheck also. Enable fill handle and cell drag and drops option. Allow editing directly in the cells. Extend data range formats and the formulas. Enable automatic percent entry. Enable autocomplete to the cell values. Zoom on rule or IntelliMouse. Alert the user when a potentially time consuming operation occurs. When this number of cells is affected, use system separators. So these all are the default option that is already selected for the editing. Then we, for the cut copy paste, what we have, show paste options button when content is pasted, show insert button option, cut copy sort inserted objects with their parent cells, link handling, pen, image set in quality, print, chart, display. So all these settings actually can be changed from this advanced option. We have the display options for the worksheet, formulas. We have when calculating, update links to the other documents, some general category. So many much more options are available in this advanced category. Lotus compatibility settings. So this is the tool we use with the when we are using Microsoft Excel. So I'll advise everyone to go through these all options, so that next time if you want to make any changes in this advanced settings of the Microsoft Excel, you are aware you need to go to do the changes. This quick access toolbar, for now we are not covering this customize ribbon. We are going to cover it in the next slide. Customize ribbon, this is very important. Next, we have the quick access toolbar. So this we already discussed before also. So this is the top one is the quick access toolbar. So right now what we have auto save, save, undo, redo, touch, quick print. So if I want to make any changes in any edition, I can choose that particular functionality and click on the add. So you already have this on the quick access toolbar. Let me check it, do it for the spelling. I'll add it here. So this is written here. You can change the order as well. You can see by clicking this is now coming down, coming upwards, coming down, coming upwards. I can have it up also. So accordingly, I can have the changes here. And when I'll click on the OK, this quick access tool bar be customized. I can go with the reset option also. I can import or some export the settings as well. So this is allowed with the quick access toolbar. What you are doing the changes with this quick access toolbar actually, you are having the some used to or that is allowed functionalities, easy to use functionalities over there. Next, we have the add-ins. So add-ins we were talking about. If you want to have something from, you want to use it some other category, like say any other tool you want to have, in that case add-in work. So right now no active application add-ins are there. What we can have inactive, you can see some options are shown here: Power Pivot, Power Map, Data Streamer, Microsoft Access for Paint 3, Euro Currency Analysis Tool Pack, VBA, document related add-ins, disabled application. So this add-ins are allowed here. So you can choose any particular add-in that is allowed. I'll go for one add-in. This is very useful, MySQL Excel add-in. So what we can have, if you want to access MySQL with Excel, that is allowed with this add-in only. So you can choose that add-in. So you can download it from MySQL, some archive version, and once this installation is done, you'll have option in the Microsoft Excel in this data thing, and you can use MySQL with Excel. Similarly, we can do with some other tools also. See, this product version, operating system, written here, download, installation, and that add-in will work. Similarly, we can work with other add-ins as well. Let's go back to file options. So we were with the add-ins and the trust center, some Microsoft Trust Center settings are allowed. By default, what it is doing, help keep your documents safe and your computer secure and healthy. So by default, whatever is allowed with the Microsoft Excel, with the Microsoft Office suite, that settings are already set here. Next thing, I'll come back to the slides first. We have covered the different categories. Just we have left with one category, that is customize your ribbon. So how we can customize ribbon, let's see that also. So what we can do with the customize ribbon, this is make your own ribbon. How you can make, add groupings, add commands, add shortcuts, customize icon. So what we are talking about, so ribbon we already know that we have this home. I'll go back to my Microsoft Excel. So this is my home, and here we want to have on my own created ribbon. So let's, how I can do it. I'll go to home, options, and this quick, before this quick access toolbar, we have the customize ribbon. So which ribbon you want to have? Let's have a new tab first. I'll click on that new tab. Right now you just see that what we have. This is the category or the filter we want to add. And if this is your ribbon that is shown here, main tabs. You have the background removal first. You have the home. Home, you can see it here. You have the clipboard here, font here, alignment here, number here, style here, cells here, editing here, analysis here. Let's go through it again so that you can see the difference. This is the main tab. You have the home. Yes, home is there. But you have the clipboard is here. Yes, this clipboard is here. Then you have the font. Yes, font is here. Then alignment, then number, then styles, then cells, and then editing and the analysis. So this is the how your ribbon is visible here. If you want to make any kind of changes, you can do it. I'll click on this plus. In that plus, see, now I have the paste. Yes, I have the cut. Yes, I have the copy. I have the format painter. I have the office clipboard. So all the changes, if you want to make anything, any deletion or anything, you can do it from here. Next, we have the font here, alignment, and similarly for other tabs also. Let me go back to the review, or I'll go back to the formula. In that formula, what we have, function library, we have function defined names, we have the formula auditing. If I'll click on the function library, I have the library as in recently used, financial, logical, text, date and type, lookup, reference, math, trigonometry, more functions. So this all already available with here. Let's go back. Formula. So this all is written here. So this is customizing your ribbon. So by default, whatever setting is already stored, that is visible here. Now, if you want to make your own tab, this is now what I'll do. I'll be here. After this help, I need a new tab. I'll do, I'll click on this new tab and I'll rename it first. Let me write the name for this. I'll click on that, and what we have in this new tab, I'll rename this to maybe skill link. I'll click on OK. Then I'll have a name here. Which group I want to make, I want to rename it to maybe what choices, what symbol you want to keep it here. I can choose, let me choose a smiley. New group names I'll provide Excel, or maybe I'll do data analysis. This is the name of the group. So once this is done, now what I can do, I can actually have my own things here. So now what I am doing, I want to have this option of spelling to this group. Now spelling is added to this one. Now I'll do sum to spelling. So after spelling, I have the sum here also. Let me select something else also. So I selected this borders as well. I'll select some cut also. I'll select some fill color also. So this all is written here. Now in my tab, this is my customized tab. Customize ribbon. I have a tab here, skilling, where I have a group data analysis and where I have the options spelling, sum, border, fill color. Okay. For now, I'm clicking OK here. I'll click OK. So now you just see the changes, like after help, you have another tab also. This is skilling, and now we have the option that group name is data analysis, and in data analysis we have spelling, sum, borders, fill color. So now you have seen that you can actually prepare a complete setup of the functionality, making your own ribbon. So what is the application of this customizing your ribbon? So you are working on a particular data set and you know that you need some particular functionalities. So what you can do, you can choose those functionalities, so you can keep it in that particular ribbon. So next time whenever you're working on the data, you're just clicking it. So I am aware that I just need these four functionalities, so I'll keep it in the skill link and I'll use this. So this is easy to use. So how you can customize it? File, options, we can go back to customize ribbon and you can choose it. If I need to delete this, I'll click that and I'll do, I'll remove, or I can reset it to the default also, reset all customizations. You can delete this also. In fact, you can change the order as well. If I want to make it to, let me after formula. So I'll make it up, 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 and I'll click on OK. Now you can see that skill link is here. So this is, you can actually decide what you want to see in that particular customized ribbon, what particular functionality you want to have. You can choose it from other category also, from the all command, from the popular commands, and you can change if you want to make any other changes also in any already available tab. You can also do that. Just you need to do how you can make your own ribbon. You can add the groupings first, you can add the commands, you can add the shortcuts, and then you can customize the icons. As this is all about customizing the ribbon. So in this session, what we have learned the structure of the Excel formulas. So in the Excel formula, we have the three things: equals to, name of the function, and then in the parenthesis we are passing the argument. Basic Excel functions we learned. What were the functions we covered? We covered sum, we covered minimum function, maximum function, then we covered the count function and the average function. We remember that in the count and average, only take the numerical value. Even if the alphabets is written there, it will actually ignore that. Then we have applying the autofill to your data. So whether it is about the auto sum, we tried auto count, we tried auto maximum, we tried. So this all again, in fact, we can repeat it with the autofill option also. In autofill options, we were having a good effect with the flash fill. We can make the series as well. We can choose the stop value, we can choose the in between value, so that we can display the range. We can do it with the numerical data as well as with the date data. And then we learned how we can make the modification in the workbook by adding the sheet, by inserting a new sheet, by inserting the new row, new column, whether it is single column or it is a multiple column or the multiple row. Then we also learned how we can delete the particular worksheet, how we can delete the particular row or particular column. And Excel options then we covered. We learned about the formatting of the worksheet also, how we can rename the worksheet, how we can move the worksheet, how we can change the tab color of the worksheet. This all we learned here. And then we have a detailed study on the Excel options and the customized ribbons. So from this we can learn that if we want to make any changes in the default settings of the Microsoft Excel, we can make the changes from that one particular category. If we want to have your own customized ribbon, you can have it from that Excel option, customize ribbon option. You can make your own ribbon. If you want to make changes in the existing ribbon, even that is allowed by adding or removing. When you are making your own ribbon, you need to choose the name of the group first, then you need to add the different commands, different shortcut here. You can choose your own icon as well. So this is all allowed with the Excel options. So this is all about this week. Thank you. See you next week.